Alright, so this video is not going to be like me saying right or wrong. This is entirely just my thoughts, my opinions on the matter. This is going to be, I want this to be such a low-key video that I did not even attach an external mic. So this is just the camera body mic. You may hear my dog barking downstairs because it's quarantine season. I don't like watching Mass online or on TV. This is a video for all my Catholics out there, and I'm just providing my thoughts on the matter. That, as mentioned in previous video, the current situation is that masses have been canceled for Sunday Mass and during the week, and this past Sunday was an opportunity for all Catholics to participate in the Mass in some way virtually, and I didn't like it. I think for a few reasons. One, it makes it far too easy just to watch the Mass instead of actively participating in it. If you are sitting in your living room, like in your pajamas, and watching it on TV, sitting in your recliner, it just isn't the same. Because I think participating in Mass is like a very physical thing. Both what we wear, what we say and do, like our body movements, and like where we're sitting, how we feel during the experience, the environment around us. Like, it is a very different reality sitting in your living room than sitting in an actual church. So that physical reality of participating in it just isn't there when you are like, I think it can be to some extent what you make of it, and if you have a nicer, kind of more sacred feeling space in your home that makes sense to set up a screen to watch, maybe that enhances the experience. And certainly you could be sitting at home with and still dress up and still go along with the entire Mass and speak through it and say the responses and kneel at the times and sit and stand as you normally would, which might help, but it still certainly is not the same. And certainly not being able to actually participate in the sacrament of the Eucharist. That Mass is can essentially be broken down to, it is a prayer and it is a sacrament, and that within this large prayer, it culminates in the sacramental reality of receiving the Eucharist. So without that, you can make a spiritual communion, but it isn't like the full participation in the sacrament, which is the culmination of this full prayer. So we can still participate in the prayerful experience, which maybe helps with the routine, like if that, but this prayer just isn't the same without culminating in the sacrament. And that is truly, I think, what makes Mass such an essential piece. Because I'm gonna be honest, I would not sit through liturgy if it didn't culminate in the sacramental participation in the Eucharist. Like, I personally think that it is set up in a certain way to receive, and if I'm not receiving, then the prayer doesn't feel just, it misses something. There was this very beautiful video that was circulating a little while ago about like the reality of what happens during the Mass, and it showed like how during the Mass, during the Eucharistic prayer, when the priest says, "Lift up your hearts," and we lift them up to the Lord, that is the moment where the priest raises us up into heaven, essentially, and we are there with the angels and the saints, participating in this prayer of the Mass that is constantly being prayed in heaven. And what Mass is supposed to be for us is like a reflection, an image of that reality, that divine reality that is taking place, that we're able to somewhat participate in during that time on Sunday or during any day of the week. And that just, it misses the mark when you're sitting in your living room. it just isn't the same. It doesn't, I just don't feel I am participating in this divine reality of being lifted up and raised up into the heavenly prayer of the Mass while I am sitting in my living room watching it on a screen. So those are my thoughts, and I can complain about the situation all I want. Like I said, this is just me giving my opinion on the matter, and that could be all that this video is, but what does that really mean for us? I think one, that this is a time to challenge yourself, that if all you are doing is going to Mass on Sundays, find something else during this time. Actively create a prayer life more than what you were doing before. That during the week, that not just that 1 hour on Sunday that you might have that is now just not the same. Create a stronger, more intimate prayer life with the Lord outside of that prayer. And then also, really all we can do is just wait and hope, and once that day comes when we are able to participate in the Mass like actively in the way that it ought to be, once again, then what a beautiful moment that will be, and just longing and looking forward to receiving that sacrament once again. Those are my thoughts. Leave your thoughts in the comments below because I want to talk about this. I think it's an interesting matter, and who knows how long it will go for. Fingers crossed it doesn't extend into Easter, but it might. And we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah,